hacía simplemente su trabajo, por ejercer y hacer su trabajo, es de que la encarcelaron.
Última hora, la información de última hora es que hay presencia de antimotines y quieren entrar aquí a 100% Noticias.
On April 18th, 2018, massive protests against the government broke out in Nicaragua.
Cuidado, cuidado. El vidrio grande, Nelson, cuidado. Nelson.
The authorities aggressively cracked down and the clashes turned violent. Over the next 8 months, human rights organizations estimate over 300 people died. Thousands were wounded, and tens of thousands fled out of fear for their lives. After covering the protests extensively, the news outlet 100% Noticias was raided on December 21st, 2018, and journalists Lucia, Pineda and Miguel Mora were detained by the police. They've been held in solitary confinement ever since.
The government said that they are terrorists, they are criminals, and maintain both in prison, no? Without any process, without any accusation, without any proofs.
La libertad de prensa es un baluarte de la democracia. La democracia no puede existir sin libertad de prensa.
The Americas have experienced the, quote, greatest deterioration in press freedom around the world, according to the Reporters Without Borders 2019 Annual Index. Across the region, there's been an uptick in harassment, intimidation, and violence. The 2019 report ranks Cuba as the worst in the region for the 22nd year in a row, followed by Venezuela and Honduras. And Mexico continues to be one of the deadliest countries in the world for journalists. In 2018, at least 8 reporters were killed. But it's Nicaragua that has seen the most significant deterioration in the past year, according to the report. Of the 5 journalists currently imprisoned in the Americas, 2 are from Nicaragua. Reporters like Nicaragua's leading journalist Ismael Ocampo confront a myriad of risks daily.
Lo menos que le puede pasar a un periodista que anda en la calle solo es que lo asalten, lo golpeen y le roben todos los equipos de trabajo que él ocupa, ¿no? para ejercer su oficio. Ya ha pasado, a raíz de un año, a raíz de que comenzó la crisis en abril del 2018, estos riesgos se han profundizado. Es decir, los periodistas que están en la calle corren más riesgo que lo que corrían hace más de un año.
Over the last year, independent media outlets in Nicaragua have faced several attacks. A journalist was killed while streaming a protest on Facebook, and a radio station was burnt to the ground. Media outlets have been censored and confiscated by the government.
Evaluar hasta qué punto una historia nos va a poner en riesgo y sobre todo valorar si esa historia valga la redundancia, la pena.
Many reporters have been threatened and harassed. More than 60 journalists have fled the country out of fear, while Pineda and Mora remain in jail. Despite the accusations lobbed against journalists, international investigators found that authorities displayed a severe repressive strategy during the protests, and even found evidence of crimes against humanity perpetrated by President Daniel Ortega's government.
Un intento del gobierno de Nicaragua por enviarle un mensaje al resto de periodistas que seguimos informando de que eso nos puede pasar si ejercemos nuestro derecho a la libertad de expresión, a la libertad de información.
Even countries that have historically been considered beacons for press freedom in the Americas have experienced increasing hostility and violence.
Reached the lowest level. USA! USA! Media! The media!
According to Reporters Without Borders, quote, never before have US journalists been subject to so many death threats or turned so often to private security firms for protection. There have been multiple reports of journalists physically assaulted while on the job in 2018. 5 employees were killed in a mass shooting at the Capital Gazette in Maryland, and 2 pipe bombs were mailed to CNN as part of a large attempted attack against major political figures. Meanwhile, President Trump continues to decry the press as the enemy of the people and fake news.
The fake news is, in fact, and I hate to say this, in fact, the enemy of the people.
In the past, the United States have the freedom of the press like the principal way for protect democracy, and it's important that other presidents look this kind of conduct in one of the most important countries in the world. But when other presidents in more weak democracies looked at this kind of discourse have a successful, take this practice and imitate this practice. And it's more, the impact is worse.
Trump's conduct has emboldened others, like Brazil's president and far-right populist leader Jair Bolsonaro.
Brazil and the United States stand side by side against fake news.
According to Reporters Without Borders, Brazil is one of the most dangerous countries in the Americas to be a journalist. And Bolsonaro's victory in 2018, quote, heralds a dark era for democracy and press freedom. The uptick of harassment, censorship, and violence underscores why freedom of the press can't be taken for granted in the Americas. That concern is especially dire in Nicaragua, where Pineda continues to be held in solitary confinement.
Está deprimida, ¿verdad? Deprimida y resiente mucho pues el estar en aislamiento, ¿verdad? Y que no se le facilite por lo menos un libro, el periódico. Ha pedido inclusive varias veces de que la trasladen junto con el resto de presidiarias que hay y no han hecho caso omiso.
Her trial, first scheduled for January, keeps getting delayed. While she waits, a human rights group was able to visit her in prison.
Aquí no somos delincuentes. En mi caso, yo soy periodista y a mí me fueron a sacar de mi puesto de trabajo. No fue en la calle, no fue en ninguna parte, fue en mi puesto de trabajo, ya que me fueron a extraer la policía.